Obviously coming off a very difficult second half in particular at Memphis, and we've got a chance to come back and work on some things, and going to be an extremely challenging trip headed to Cincinnati tomorrow night.
I'm sure that you guys have worked on kind of pressure defense in practice. Just what did y'all learn from kind of that experience in the second half?
Sometimes it comes down to just strictly being tough with the ball and spacing and things like that. And as much as you work on it, and we worked on it for 2 days leading into Memphis, and we do a lot of pressuring in practice ourselves, even when we're not going to face a team that we know is going to be trapping or doing things like that. But sometimes in that environment, in that moment is, unfortunately, sometimes it's the best way to grow. And you don't want to grow through 22 turnovers or through traps and turnovers that lead directly to baskets. We ended up giving up 28 points off turnovers, and 20 of them were direct, what we would call a pick six, steal, turnover deflection, leading into a layup point in the paint for Memphis. So, but we've continued to work on it. We will continue to work on it even when we don't foresee a team playing like that, because we have to get better at it.
Looks like you guys did a little better on the free throw line this past game.
Yeah, free throws are so difficult to predict in terms of, you work on them every day. There's a mental component to it. Sometimes we've shot better free throws on the road than we have at home, and sometimes that's the sign of a younger team, just because of what it is. Sometimes whether it be your focus or whether it be the home crowd or the visiting crowd, whatever it may be. But Wichita, we shot better. Memphis, we didn't shoot a lot of them, but our percentage was better. But obviously at home, whether it be UCF or Temple in particular, the conference games, we didn't shoot them so well. So we're just going to continue to work on them as we have been, and I think as our guys grow, we'll shoot better percentages.
You talk about being kind of tough with the ball. You want to kind of be aggressive against the press too, but also not get too sped up. Like, what's that balance?
That's a great point, Stephen. And our whole thing was that we wanted to try to be a very aggressive versus it, not because you want to get sped up, but if you can score a few times out of it or get a couple good shots or create a couple fouls, advantage basketball, maybe they back the pressure off. I think really good pressure teams and pressing teams and trapping teams like Memphis is, when they can feel a little bit of hesitation or feel a little bit of weakness, it's like smelling blood in the ocean, for a shark. And that's what they did, and they felt us a little bit back on our heels, and they kept coming, and we weren't able to back them off at all by getting ourselves a couple good looks. And the funny thing is we had a couple opportunities to do that. We had a couple breaks where we could have, and we pulled it back. And then, it just kind of snowballs. And that 22-0 run, we could never recover from it.
You had a 9 o'clock game. Is there any difference in kind of keeping the guys homed in when you play as late as you're going to? Especially
yeah, great. Because this is the first time we've had that one, I think more it's just that we're just going to try and break the day up a little bit. Maybe start the day a little bit later than normal. Today we actually get there a little bit earlier than normal just because of travel plans. So we'll try and break it up today and go into the gym tonight, and we'll push our shoot around back just a little bit tomorrow. But in the end of the day, you can't do anything about it. We're not going to do anything, extremely different. We're just going to space the day out so it feels as normal as possible.
Is there anybody that we're not seeing on the floor right now that's catching your eye at practice?
Yeah, it's a great question. Saxby, and that's why Saxby got that look early in the first half. He really did, because he's been really good in practice. His effort, what he does, attention to detail, his defense, he really does a lot of great things in practice, and we went with him early. He earned that opportunity. Now, it didn't go as well as probably we wanted or he wanted, but he'll continue to do that. I mean, he is going to be a good player for us, and we appreciate what he brings every day in practice. He earned that, and we really thought he can go in and do something. It just, again, the speed of the game, the turnover he had trying to feed the post kind of cut his night short. Another guy is, Val's been really good in practice, but again, speed of the game when you get on there versus going up when you know exactly what you're doing in practice, those are two different things. But I would say those two guys are continuing to grow, and we'll see what that leads to.
What do you see out of Cincinnati, and obviously another very good team? Just what impresses you?
Yeah, just a dynamic offensive team. We know we know what kind of environment it's going to be. We know what kind of home court they have, as good as anyone in the conference. We know it's going to be a great crowd. It's a great place to play, just like Memphis was. But they got 5 guys basically averaging in double figures. They can shoot the ball. They have 4 to 5 guys on the court at any point in time that have the green light to shoot the ball. They're probably the best three-point shooting team in terms of spacing the floor and having a multitude of guys that could shoot really high percentages and get hot and make 3, 4 or more in a game. So we know how they score the basketball, and they're a big physical team on defense. They're a team that will throw some different things at us, but defensively it's going to be a challenge to go in that building and score. And scoring 59 points like we did versus Memphis the other day is tough on the road, especially when you're giving up so many up on turnovers. So we got to take care of the basketball versus their defense, and we got to have elite shooter defense because of the way they shoot the basketball.
Luigi seemed to really embrace his role with you guys, bringing a lot of energy. Just what has he kind of meant to your team?
Yeah, exactly what you just said. I think he's settled in that role. He knows he comes in and he's giving us 10 to 12 really good minutes, and maybe that could be more, and maybe on any given night, depending on foul trouble, who knows what that goes. We got to keep Luigi continuing to grow because hopefully we have not seen the best of him so far. I think he's going like this, which is good. But like anything, it's the silly plays that all our guys make. It's those 5 to 7 plays, whether it's a silly foul in the UCF game, whether it's a silly turnover, just a casual, careless play in the Memphis game. And in conference play, home or away, no matter who you're playing, particularly versus very good teams, those sometimes are the plays that spur momentum and can change the whole game. And so we spent a lot of time in film yesterday going over that from the Memphis game, and we just have to continue to grow. But Luigi's been a good, really good, solid piece for us here recently, particularly since conference started.
How do you feel like Javon maybe handled that game? Not all 9 turnovers were probably on him, but I'm sure he wasn't thrilled.
100%. They weren't all on him. But again, we've talked about this. I think Javon holds himself to a high standard. 9 turnovers, not something that he is, at all content with, or he understands he's disappointed. He came back very focused yesterday to practice and wanted to be better, and he was better. But that being said, you're the point guard, and Vaughn knows this, that we hold him to a high standard, and that 9 turnovers is something that he can't have. And some turnovers were directly on his ball handling, and some were spacing and guys not being available. You got to expect other teams are going to come after Javon. I mean, he's our primary ball handler. He's the one that our offense runs through. But that being said, Javon needs to know, hey, there's got to be ways he has to continue to be better, and he wants to be. So there was, I think he handled it well, but I know he knows he wants to be better, and he will be better.